And I can empathize completely with the Joker right there. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Big Apple Hockey. Great to have you guys back as we burned a little bit of the midnight oil last night. Just our disgust over that game. Make sure you check that out with us and Rangers Central as we broke down game one of the Rangers season. Guys, I, of course, am your host, Mark Williams. Delighted to be back to cover another season of NHL hockey. And of course, coming back with the host of the Final Buzzer, Mr. John Filkowski.
I don't know why you sounded like Christopher Walken there, but yeah, it's just very, very disappointing performance from this team. And I guess this comment kind of sums it up. It's like, I don't know why we would expect any different. It's the same guys are back. Same team, same crap. So here we are again. It's so funny because you said you had Taco Bell last night, and that made me think of the song "In Too Deep" by Sum 41, because Sum 41 the song plays in the commercial.
Yeah,
because they're doing 90s now, even though it's not really a 90s song. It came out in 2001, which is crazy to think that they.
Really, it was a song at the end of American Pie 2, if I recall correctly.
Yes. But, I mean, if you look at the lyrics to that song, it's kind of like a parallel to what's going on right now. Like, the faster we're falling, we're stopping and stalling, we're running in circles again. Just as things we're looking up, you said it wasn't good enough, but still we're trying one more time. Like, isn't that exactly what this team is doing? Like,
basically is exactly what the New York Rangers are doing. It's basically they switched out the driver, but yet the kids are still kicking the back of the seat and telling the driver what to do. And it's time to I don't have a good metaphor, because actually the metaphor ends with you leaving the kids on the side of the road or trading them out. But no, it's they gotta change around the players. Fans that don't see that, I don't know what to tell you. It's been the same story now. Even if Mike Sullivan, let's say it's a blip, this is one game. Mike Sullivan did say this: we have a long way to go to be the team we think we could be. Well, that's right. So do they want to be the team they could think they could be? And if you haven't questioned the players by now, you're never going to question the players. And the same people that think, yeah, how long have we said it? The inmates are running the asylum. But this is just, it's just utter disgust. But we're going to get more into that, Filk, in a moment. Let's go to the A block, where we're going to discuss a little bit of that, and also everything around the NHL that happened yesterday and that's going to be going on now as the NHL season begins. Don't forget, the A block is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use the promo code Big Apple Hockey for $20 off your first order. And you look at what happened yesterday, where, sorry, go ahead, flash that comment.
Yeah, this is right. It's not working. This has been going on for way too long.
This team is not close to the team 14 months ago that finished 6 wins shy of a Stanley Cup. That team ain't walking through the door. All the players are complacent. They think they're that team. The truth is, they're the team that lost to Carolina in the bubble. You had potential.
They're not even that.
You wasted it.
They're not even
that. They're not even that.
Like, that team had potential. Like, where's the direction here?
Well, no. Well, it's, again, they wasted their potential. Everything about it. And I don't want to hear about, oh, we'll have to get this player or this player. No. It's a team mindset that's in that locker room. That locker room is Chernobyl. So, I mean, and circa, what was it? 1985. I forgot what year. But still, it's just, it's one of those things. It's still, I don't have words to describe it, because if it's not obvious by now, I don't know when it's going to be obvious to people. Well, let's get around to what happened yesterday and what did happen, where you had the Florida Panthers successfully defend their Stanley Cup in their first game since their second straight Stanley Cup. As they beat the Blackhawks 3-2. The Penguins, as I put right there, sullied the New York Rangers in the home opener, and the Avalanche buried the Kings 4-1. The Avalanche game, they looked solid. And you're talking about, I think it was Scott Wedgwood that played the game. I don't think it was Mackenzie Blackwood last night. And they went up 4-0. They survived. The only goal they surrendered was on a 5-on-3. And the Avalanche look like they're ready to be a tough contender for the Stanley Cup, but they got to go through Murderer's Row. So, Phil, you look through the rest of the league that's starting up this week. You have Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews. They begin their seasons, and they're huge seasons since Matthews will play his first games without Mitch Marner in quite a long time. And McDavid signed that big 2-year extension. We have breaking news.
Yeah, I wanted to get this in before we went any further. Kyle Connor this morning, a lot of you probably already saw it, signed an 8-year, $96 million extension, $12 million AAV. But yes, it's another one off the board. So, I mean, you talked about there's nobody coming in to save this team. There's one less guy. The word is Jack Eichel is talking to Vegas about an extension. People believe that it could be anywhere between 13.5 to 15 million for Jack Eichel. There's nobody that's coming through to save this team. And this is why you don't rely on free agents like this. You don't rely on free agency, because a lot of the times these big guns, kind of like how the Islanders they were planning to try to get Steven Stamkos. What was it, 9 years ago? I think it was. Yeah, it was 2016. It was 9 years ago. They were trying to get Steven Stamkos, and he ended up re-signing with Tampa for an AAV that I think was under $9 million. And everyone was like, "Oh, wow, okay, we're done. Like we don't have any backup plan now because the Islanders banked everything on that at that time." I don't know if the Rangers were doing the same thing here, but there's no Kyle Connor coming through. There's no. I don't think Jack Eichel's coming. What are you left with, Adrian Kempe? I mean, that's going to be your needle mover.
Well, again, it's not really. It's not really. He just got a text message from Anthony of all people. He just touched down on U.S. soil. Phil, this is to answer the question that you're throwing out there. First off, it's a basketball mentality to think, "Oh, this free agent's coming." No. Because then what happens is if you start thinking this player is coming, you think you're the only team? You really think you're the only team? I guarantee that when Dolan thought that they were shooing to get LeBron, and not only that, he'll never play a game for the New York Knicks. But then his backup plan was Amari Stoudemire coming off a microfracture surgery and such. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. The answer, especially in hockey, your answers have to come from within. You can't just go, "Well, I'm going to go get this free agent." If that free agent is available, you might get him. Great job if you do. You can't plan on it. And even the B option isn't a good option. So, yeah, looking around with Drury going, "Oh, well, there's this big free agent class." No, well, it's not. And then you got.
It wasn't even Kako and Lafreniere. It was Nils Lundqvist, Philip Hedl, Braden Schneider, and a first-round pick, and they didn't want to do it.
Yeah, they didn't want to do it.
Stupid. Absolutely stupid. They could have had him years ago. They could have had him 4 years ago.
But again, this is just another guy. And first up, by the way, let's talk about this. This is another American player signing a big long-term deal to stay in a Canadian city, which you keep hearing about that's not necessarily the case. Well, all right. Well, he's got 96 million reasons to stay there right now. And He liked Winnipeg so much that he's staying there. And I love stories like that, by the way. I love it when guys come in from all over the world and end up adopting their whatever city their franchise is, their longtime franchise that they're there, as their own city. Like you always heard about that with Roger Bear. Roger Bear was so embraced by New York that he loved it till the day he died. And I love hearing those stories because you hear about the guys that don't want to play in Canada, and then there's that stigmatism. Look, right now, Austin Matthews has no problem playing north of the border, and he's still on pace potentially to pass Ovechkin. But this is one of those things. Going back to the Rangers, you can't plan on free agents coming to your team because there's other teams that are going to plan for them too. And if they get them, then you're left there holding the bag. Fix your prospects. Noah Laba was one of the best players on the Rangers last night. That's had to be sad enough. But Filk, let's look at ahead. You got Matthews, McDavid, beginning their season tonight. Matthew Schaefer made the Islander roster. He begins his NHL career tomorrow night. What games have your attention this week?
Well, I'll tell you something that has my attention, and I don't understand this. How did the NHL schedule no games for Friday?
That's insane.
You literally have your opening week, and you have a Friday that you could have games on, and you have no games on Friday. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. I mean,
and in a season where they have a condensed schedule too.
Yeah, I don't get that. I really don't. I mean, there's nothing that really sticks out. Maybe aside from Schaefer's debut against the Penguins, I want to see how he looks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Mammoth in their new jerseys tomorrow night as well. I mean, that would be interesting. The Ducks with McTavish back and another year older with that group. San Jose and Michael Misa making his debut, I think, on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Saturday will be that's a loaded day. All 32 teams are playing Saturday, which I guess that's why they wanted it. I mean, it's not the Frozen Frenzy, right? Like,
no, but you're gonna have to, if you're gonna have all 32 teams, somebody's gonna play it back to back.
Well, yeah. So Sunday has one game, and it's the Capitals and Rangers on Sunday. They're the back to back. So the Rangers are gonna go from playing Pittsburgh again on Saturday. They'll probably get shut out again. Amazing. To go and play Washington on Sunday, and they're actually going to play a decent goaltender on Sunday. Yeah, Coach Q making his debut with the Ducks will be interesting. But yeah, there's things that are like interesting. So, I mean, I wouldn't say the Frozen Frenzy was nonsense. I liked it. I thought.
No, I love the Frozen Frenzy. I think it's great.
I just think they did it too early in the season.
I think they don't do it often enough. Do it three times in the season. Do it once at the beginning of the year, once in January, maybe during Christmas, during bowl season, maybe, and then do one more in March during the playoff push. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I do. I think it's great. I just think that, I mean, if you're gonna do this, then this should have been advertised like it was last year. I disagree with this. I disagree with it completely.
No, and I think the NHL has actually done well with their novelties. They've done well as far as especially like getting some stadium series in unique places, and they've done well as far as the Winter Classic itself was a novelty to start, and it's now, look at them, it's now a staple. They got more than just one outdoor game a year, and everybody's clamoring for one. They've hit on a lot of these things, and obviously the Four Nations was a novelty because that was an NHL sanctioned tournament. But this is just it's a good thing. It's a good thing because it gets it all out there. The problem is in October, if you do it on a Saturday, you're competing against college football. Do it on a Sunday, you're competing against the NFL. You're also going to be competing against. That's why it's not a good idea to do it this soon.
Yeah.
But whatever. But I like the staggering start times, by the way.
Yeah, the staggering start times are cool, like, because there's always a game that's gonna be on and playing while you're watching. It's pretty cool. You can sit down and just spend a day, especially if it's gonna be like crappy out. Like it's perfect when you have like a rainy day.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I absolutely love it. I just don't like the fact that they're doing it in October. Like I said, you're competing with college football, which you're never going to win that battle. And then you're competing with the NFL if you do it on a Sunday, and you're never going to win that battle. So if you can do it in like February, yeah, you can do it like that's what I was saying. You're not going to win those battles. That's why you need to do it in February. You can't do it in January. You can't do it in December. You can't do it in any time before February. You can't do it.
But yeah, but look, if you can do it, I think in October early on in the season, but you have to do it on a weekday night. That's a hard part.
You can't do it on a weekday though.
They do it on Tuesday usually, right?
No, you can't do that like on a weekday. How you're gonna miss out on a lot of viewers if you do it on a weekday.
Yes, but if you do it on a weekday, then at least you could kind of stagger it around. It's just to get people to get juiced about the season. It's more about the headline and in that moment. The actual experience, I think, would come if you do it in the Christmas break, and maybe even, the NHL needs to not shy away from New Year's Day. That's something else that they need to not do. To make sure, even if you do that and you have the winter break, Martin Luther King Day, probably a great day to do it. I'm just spitballing on some of these guys. Well, Phil, one team that's got my attention is the Los Angeles Kings, because they're going to start with they lost to Colorado last night. They go to Vegas. They go to Winnipeg. And I had the fourth team that they have a rough 4 games to start. You also got the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is their schedule to start. They're home for the Canadiens, which is like as per usual. Then on the road to Detroit, home for Detroit, home for Nashville, home for the Rangers. There's a potential Toronto could start 5-0 in the post Mitch Marner era, which would really end. They got Seattle after that, so that could potentially be 6-0. Detroit wants to make some noise to say, hey, we're a lot better because now we have a goalie. So maybe that'll help. But I mean, you look at Toronto's month of October. Actually, let me go through the entire month. They're home for the Canadiens. They have 3 road games. I'll get to the road games in a minute. But they're home for the Canadiens, at Detroit, home for Detroit, home for Nashville, home for the Rangers, home for the Kraken, home for the Devils, at Buffalo, then home for Buffalo versus Calgary, and then it's at Columbus. Like, that's a pretty potentially light schedule for the Maple Leafs to jump out ahead and reclaim the Atlantic like they did last year.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you also have, I honestly, I don't care about that division. I don't. because Florida is going to get healthy come playoff time, and they're going to be back. And Toronto's not going to beat them even with that team. If last night was any indication, the Leafs are going to kill the Rangers. That goes without saying. Toronto plays a tougher, more defensively sound game than this team does. But yeah, so I don't think the Leafs have anything to worry about. They win the division, great. Who cares though? They can't get past the second round of the playoffs. When they get to the conference finals and maybe even the Stanley Cup finals, then we could really start talking about them, because it's the same thing that it's been since 1994. They got back to the conference finals. They lost to Vancouver, who lost to the Rangers, obviously. Mm-hmm. But what's any different about Toronto? Like, is Marner not being there like making them that much more of a better team or a more exciting team? I honestly, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
Well, I mean, you got Edmonton too, just to kind of throw them out there. They begin with Calgary and Vancouver before they travel east and hit the Eastern teams: Rangers, Islanders, Devils, Detroit, and Ottawa before they go back home. They need a good month of October because they never start strong. And
Connor McDavid, I think, needs to have a good month of October too.
Agreed.
And not that he desperately needs it, but I think after the whole extension and the basically just showing that he wants nothing more than to win here, I think he needs to start hot. I think he needs to come out like right out of the gate and show, hey, you know what? We're serious. This is going to be our year. Like, because if you want to jack your team up and you want to get them going and really show that you're going to try to take advantage of Florida being a little battered this year, then, start out strong, and then make the case for your team to go make other moves to really go and get and put them over the top. Because I mean, I still don't trust them in goal. I would still like more middle six depth, maybe even another top six forward if they could somehow pull that off, and another depth defenseman, like a good depth defenseman, could really help them out.
Well, we're going to move on to the next topic, and we're also going to talk more about Matthew Schaefer and his potential.
Good defensively, the Rangers, though. They're so good.
Yeah.
Only one goal against Pittsburgh. The other two were empty netters, guys. Come on.
Yeah, come on. They're stout. They're going to be fun. They're going to be just fine.
Urho Vakanainen is so good defensively. He really belongs in an everyday NHL lineup. Same with Carson Soucy, who especially belongs on power play too. Isn't that great?
Yeah, I'm just gonna continue shaking my head. That's the best I could just do with that.
Unserious organization.
Well, they're gonna get more serious hopefully when everybody starts getting fired. But guys, we're gonna talk more about Matthew Schaefer and his potential this season as we go into our NHL Bar Talk.
Shot. This is the easiest I've ever had to answer.
I'm gonna say beer. I can't even begin to describe.
I'm actually going to go crazy. I'm going to buy everybody around on this one. And by the way, it's great to know that the wheels have touched down and we have our third member of Big Apple Hockey coming back with us next week. Welcome back to the States, Anthony. But welcome back, everybody else, to Big Apple Hockey's Bar Talk. We're gauging our confidence on these NHL topics based on our choice of drink. So confident that you buy it around. So I'll have a beer. Oh, dear God, I need a shot. And if you're like me, drinking the 122 proof bourbon last night, that was exactly the way that I felt after watching that game. And by the way, when you need to go to a bar and you want to have a good time, go to Ball's Croakers. It's where I work. And it's Wing Wednesday, where you got 40-cent wings, $2 tacos, $4 Miller Lights and Yinglings. Come on down. They're going to have the Yankee game on tonight as well as several hockey games. All right. So, Phil, there's just no way around it for the New York Rangers, especially after last night. I know there's still going to be the fans, the faithful, that are going to come out and say they still have a chance at the Stanley Cup. But
it's only game one.
Yes,
Don't
exactly.
be so negative.
Yeah, it's only game one. They're going to be like, this season is going to be like Mort Goldman. Oh, they shoved pine cones up my butt. And these are awful times. That's what it's going to be like this season for the New York Rangers. But assuming last night was a precursor for what's to come, the New York Rangers will trade off a major asset by the start of February.
This one's tough because major asset means like we're not talking a Carson Soucy, we're not talking a Urho Vakanainen, we're not talking a Juuso Parssinen. We're talking like an Alexi Lafreniere or an Artemi Panarin or I don't know, like maybe even a Braden Schneider could fall under this since they've put stock into him. I'm gonna go beer because I do think it's possible. I just think that some of the guys that they would look to move, like a Mika Zibanejad, have contract restrictions that might prevent them from doing this. So I see all the comments in the chat. Yeah, it should be a hoop, should be a layup, should be a no-brainer. Yeah, I agree. It's just I don't know if they have the ability to move these guys. The one guy I would look out for if things continue to go this way is obviously Artemi Panarin.
Mm.
And if Chris Drury is dumb enough to hold on to him and then extend him after a season of this slop and a group that's clearly not, I mean, yeah, all right. All right, fine, fair. I'll include Will Borgen in that. But for some reason, I don't see him going anywhere. I really don't. He's got no trade protection in his contract or anything like that, so he is movable. And I would, if someone's willing to give up decent assets for him, but I have a hard time seeing that because Chris Drury doesn't like to admit mistakes, apparently. Outside of Patrick Nemeth, he doesn't like to admit mistakes. He doubles down on them. So I would hope that would be the case, but I don't know. And I agree with this. There is no scenario in which Artemi Panarin should be with this team past the deadline, regardless of where they are in the standings. Even if you're winning, I think you have to move him. I think you have to move on. There's no way you can bring back a guy that's going to be 35 right after the start of next season. In October of 2026, he will turn 35. What are we doing? We know that he can't produce in the playoffs. He just doesn't do it. When the competition gets tougher, the games get more tightly checked. He disappears, kind of like he did last night for whatever reason. It's game one, and he did that. Here's your answer, D. Healy. You get rid of everybody in the scouting staff. You get rid of Chris Drury. You get rid of all of them. You strip it down to the foundations. You bring in all new people, and then you start over because whatever they have going there, they just don't know how to properly evaluate talent. They just don't, and they don't know how to develop it. That's for sure. So Tanner Glass and Jed Ortmeyer have to go bye-bye. The very first thing that has to happen is those two have to go bye-bye because they are terrible at what they do, and the scouting staff have to go with them. Like, their pro scouts are even awful. When you hear things like they've been looking at Will Borgen for 2 years. What?
Yeah.
That's who you've been looking at for 2 years? Will Borgen? Here, don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Mark Stahl's going to help them play defense. Yeah, a guy who got left behind as the latter part of the last decade went along is going to help teach them play defense. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going around, and I am going to say it's a layup, it's a hoop, it's everything. So let's get that one out there. Phil, this is I said it all last year. Play Def Leppard's Tear It Down. And again, everybody went, no, you can't do that. They were 6 wins for the Stanley Cup. No, they're not good. They're not good. They're not built right. And the clubhouse is.
Hold on. The same people that tell you that there's 6 wins from the Stanley Cup are the same people that turn around and tell you that, oh, the only reason why they were even with Florida in that series is because of Igor.
Yes.
Okay, so then if they were not that good, then why are you complaining that they were only 6 wins from the Cup?
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's and first off, break down those numbers also, because basically take a few games versus Carolina where Igor was brilliant. Sorry, games 1 and 2, he was brilliant. Game 3, he was just good. And then the rest of the series, like that's a different story at the moment. But let's get down to what the rest of this is. They're not that clubhouse. You needed to just fix it all. Yeah, do the end scene from Terminator 3. Play Miley Cyrus. You come in like a wrecking ball. You got whatever euphemism you want to do. I like to use Def Leppard. Tear it down. This team is not winning a Stanley Cup this way. They don't have the young pieces that are going to complement the older pieces. And again, that team 16 months ago is long gone. Artemi Panarin disappeared in game 1 versus a pathetic Pittsburgh Penguins team that is coached by a guy who is making his coaching debut and an AHL goalie. Let's say Arthur Sheelas for what he is. Like, it's just, come on. The Rangers couldn't buster 1 goal on him. Never mind that. I played the only highlight that you needed to know on that. The one that came off the backboards, Zibanejad tried to put it into the empty net. They couldn't get it in there. What other real scoring chance did the Rangers have last night that you went, oh, this is, because of Igor? No, yeah. And by the way, it wasn't because of Hank. Hank, they're not even apples and oranges. They're like chopped meat versus watermelon. But it's just, that's a better movie and a better scene as well.
Yeah, it is.
But it's.
And I know that there are some people definitely know what lyrics I'm posting in the chat right now.
I'll take a look at them later. But it's just the Rangers need to move on. And you got to admit you have the problem. And once you admit you have the problem, then it's right there. All right. I didn't have a precursor or a prelude to go into this one, Phil, but let's go with that. Matthew Schaefer will lead the New York Islanders in points this year. As you know, he's making his NHL debut tomorrow night versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Oh, you're putting in 4 horsemen. All right.
The bridge between into the solo is really the first solo, I should say. The outro solo is amazing too. But
But no, that's a good one. That's a good one right there.
Yeah, it literally just kind of, again.
There you go. If anybody wants to see what the lines are.
Its toll on you, the lines that crack your face, famine your body has torn through, withered in every place, pestilence, so on. But I'm actually going to go round. I'm going to go round. I don't see, unless Tony DeAngelo has this insane run where he goes back to 2020 Tony DeAngelo and he's the number 1 guy on the power play. Yes, it does mean that because I don't think he's getting sent down. I don't.
Yeah.
I just think he's too good. But I think I could see Matthew Schaefer leading them in points with somewhere between like 35 to 40 points.
I'm going to go round on this one too. I think he's going to stay with the Islanders. I think the thing about Matthew Schaefer is he'll show so much promise in those first 9 games that they'll keep him on the roster.
Panarin happened. That's what happened.
And then it was, I do have to say this. Then it was, I think the Islanders are going to start just kind of tapping the gas pedal with him. And they're going to gradually get lower and lower and lower. And by the end of the year, Matthew Schaefer is going to be running power play 1. And you'll see the growth in Matthew Schaefer. There's a plan in place with him. I don't think they're going to rush him. I think they're going to go steadily with him, but I like his skating ability, and as long as he can skate, that's what really matters. I think the rest of it will fall into place. And I think I don't really see the competition for him either. I don't think it's going to be Tony DeAngelo. I think Tony DeAngelo gets moved eventually, and
Okay.
and I think it's going to clear space for Shaper. They still have other young defensemen that they want to see later on in the year. I actually haven't seen whether or not Isaiah George made the team. I don't think he did, but he'd be a guy they want to look at again. There's going to be plenty to the Islanders. So let's, but they're going to still take their time because after all, you look at them in the Metro, there's a lot that happened in the Metro, Phil. You look at the standings from last year. Washington, of course, won the Metro. No other 100-point team. Carolina, 99. New Jersey, 91. Columbus, 89. The Rangers, 85. The Islanders, 82. And Pittsburgh, 80. We'll mention the Flyers at 76. I mean, they were last place, but who knows? Maybe they might jump up this year. But you look at some of the other divisions. We'll get to that in a second. Phil, everybody's just kind of handing the division to Carolina. You think it's Carolina's to lose?
Round. Again, I will go and I will look at Washington as the one other team that I thought could give them a real problem. Jersey, I think they can win it. I don't know if I trust the health of Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton, though. That's like the big thing. I don't know if they're going to stay healthy. If they do, then they have a chance. But also, what are you getting from Jacob Markstrom? Jacob Markstrom is just, it's leap year with him. You're either going to get a Vezina caliber goaltender, or you're going to get a guy that may not even be worth the contract you just got. So, I honestly think it's Carolina's. Washington they are a major candidate to regress big time. You cannot have as many players as they had on that team finish with career high seasons in shooting percentage. They were like the biggest PDO team in the league last year. And usually PDO teams, PDO's basically puck luck, are bound to regress. Look at the shooting percentages on this team. Dylan Strome, 19.5. His previous career high was like 16%. Alex Ovechkin, 18.6. His previous career high was a 15.4. And you're talking about probably the guy who's considered the greatest goal scorer of all time. He has the record now. Is he gonna have any juice in him after that chase? Alexei Protas broke out last year at 24 years old. 21.1%. Pierre-Luc Dubois at 14.1 isn't crazy, but I still think there's regression possible there. Tom Wilson at 30 years old, 19.5%. 19.5. That's gonna regress. Connor McMichael broke out last year at 24 years old. 14.7%. There's regression potential there. Mm-hmm. And then you have Andrew Mangiapane, who shot at 14.7%, who's no longer there. So who's winning their board battles now? Nick Dowd even shot at 16.3 while he was there. 16.3 for a guy who's a fourth-line center. Like, that just tells you that everything is going right. So I don't think that they get that. Even Jacob Vrana, his comeback last year, 7 goals in 26 games, shot at exactly 25%. What went wrong for them last year? What went wrong? Like,
well, the answer I think on that is their defense went right. They played sound defensive hockey, and defense became offense.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
Everything went right, Phil. You're right about that.
Shooting at those percentages, it's not sustainable. Like, even the playoffs, They beat Montreal. Okay, they beat the inexperienced young small team with all the flashy young players that don't know how to play playoff hockey. Okay, fine. And then what happened the next series? Carolina ran circles around them. Absolutely made. Carolina pulled a 2006 Buffalo Sabres against the Ottawa Senators on them when Zdeno Chara got absolutely embarrassed by all those smaller skaters in Buffalo. That's what they did.
And I think the thing is, the Metro's got a lot of teams with questions, and all the teams that can challenge Carolina with questions. Like you broke down Washington, you broke down New Jersey. We didn't mention Columbus, which is
okay. Again, is Zach Werenski going to have another massive year like that?
Yeah, and the other part of that is was that more Dean Evason's coaching, or were they just inspired by the tragedy that happened with Johnny Gaudreau? We're about to find out, because maybe that is the case. Here's what we're overlooking in this argument. This is the only reason why I'm going to say beer on this one, Phil. And it's because Carolina's got their questions. And again, this sound like a broken record, Phil. It goes back to goaltending. They got Freddie Anderson, who's 35 years old. 36 years old now, or he's going to be 36. But let me just break this down to you from last year. The guy that played the most for them last year was Pyotr Kochetkov. Played 47 games. It was 27, 16, and 3. He had 2.6 goals against. That sounds good. Do you know that they didn't have one goalie with a 900 save percentage or better? Dustin Tokarski for 6 games. Sorry, correct that. He had a 902. So in that case, 902. That's still pathetic. You're telling me you're relying on 2 goalies whose save percentages are 897 and 899, and one of them is the most injury-prone goalie in the league? Like, then you have to add on the fact that you just added Keandre Miller on there, and I do know his name rhymes with turnover, but it's just there's questions on the Carolina thing. Do I think it's theirs to lose? No, it's just a beer. It's just a beer because they got their own questions. The stuff can go wrong for them. I don't look at Carolina and think they're invincible. If you put Carolina in any other division, I'm not even sure if they're a second place team. That's how much you can look at them and go, do you think they're second place in the Pacific? They're certainly not in the Central, and they're certainly not in the Atlantic. So
no, but no one's saying that. What we're saying is that this division is so crappy that they're just the cream of the crop. And that's really what it comes down to.
And I get that. It's just they got their questions, Phil, and I can't just hand the division to them. And
this is really it. They play the right way in front of the goalie. Brendan Moore's system works in the regular season. It doesn't work in the playoffs, and that's where they will lose again because they'll continue to fire shots from the outside, and they'll take up lesser chances, and they're a volume team. They prefer volume over quality, and that's why they lose. It's exactly why they lose. And the fact that Brendan Moore cannot make adjustments when he's faced with an actual good coach. He can't. I'm sorry. He's good. He's not great. And again, every time that he comes up against a better coach, come playoff time, his teams get outclassed. And that's it. And if you want to talk about Columbus, okay, is Werenski going to be healthy? Because Werenski can't stay healthy. Like if you look at his games over the years, he missed 12 games in 2024. He missed 59 games in 2023. He missed 14 games in 2022. And the 56-game season, he played only 35 out of 56 games. I mean, he's been hurt quite a lot. So if you want to talk about somebody who's injury-prone and misses a ton of games, Zach Werenski's right up there. If he misses any amount of time, that team is screwed. The one thing that they have in their favor is that they have two guys that look like two very young guys that look like they're on the up. And that's Adam Fantilli and Kent Johnson. I don't know if Marchenko's giving you another 30 goals, 70-point season. I don't know if that's just a Johnny Gaudreau juice, like a buff, if you want to call it that. But again, they have two guys that are that good. Their defense is nah. You brought back Provorov and you paid him even more. Why?
Yeah,
Why?
that one was a little bit perplexing as well.
You gave him that money for what purpose?
I can't explain that one. And then you still have the question. I don't think the Islanders can make that jump all the way up to the top. I'll conclude the Rangers can't do it. The Rangers aren't going to be doing that. Rangers are going to be lucky if they're in playoff contention by the end of the month. I'll tell you that. If last night's an indication, they might get buried by next week because they're going to.
I can say that early, but listen, if you're talking about this team being out of it by like December, I can absolutely see that.
Well, they're going to have Edmonton, Buffalo. You got to start beating the teams that you're supposed to beat. Not saying Edmonton, they got Buffalo. But right now, I'll quote Rounders when it comes to New York Rangers. When you can't spot the sucker at the table, you are the sucker.
Yeah, you are the sucker. Yep.
You are the sucker. All right, let's go around and look at the divisions around the league for a second because you have the Central Division. You had Winnipeg with 116 points. They were the President's Trophy winners. Dallas 106, Colorado 102, Minnesota 97, and so on. You got it right there. St. Louis, the team I'm picking to make a big, impressive jump this year. Then you got in the Pacific Division, you have Vegas with 110, the Kings with 105, Edmonton at 100, Calgary 96. They did not make the playoffs. Vancouver at 90, and so on. But you have the Atlantic Division. Now, the Atlantic Division had Toronto with 108, Tampa Bay 102, Florida 98, Ottawa 97, Montreal 91, Detroit 86, Buffalo 79, and Boston with 76. Philk, you look at all the divisions around the league. The Atlantic Division will have the biggest shuffle among its standings.
That is tough for me to say. I think the Central is going to have the same teams there. I think Utah will fight for a spot, maybe even make it. Like if St. Louis falters a little bit, maybe Utah could take that spot from them. I don't see Nashville getting back there just because I don't like the way their defense looks. They would have to have some major years for some guys. Like Roman Josi would have to be healthy and have like a Norris winning year, I think, for them to make it. The Pacific, I think I could see LA dropping and missing. I think they lack a lot of like their system, the way they play is smart, but they're going to feel the loss of Gavrikov. They really are. Anaheim is on the up and up, I think. They might surprise some people, but I still think Vegas, it's their division to lose. Seattle doesn't impress me at all. Calgary, what are you getting from Calgary? If Jonathan, I should call him Justin Huberdeau at this point because he's been playing more like Justin, even though he was better last year than he's been in any year since he's gotten to Calgary. It's still really Vegas and Edmonton at the top of that division, and then everyone else is kind of just fighting for the next couple of spots. So the Pacific could be a contender for shuffle because I think after Vegas and Edmonton, all those spots could easily be jumbled. If you ask me, I could see Seattle being last. I could see San Jose being last. Vancouver thinks that they're going to make a comeback, but does Demko stay healthy? Does Hughes stay healthy? And what is Pedersen giving you? So Atlantic, I know Boston's not going to be a good team. They don't have anyone else that could score aside from Pasternak. And I don't know if I trust Geeky with a career high season. And another one, very, very high shooting percentage. I think he's a regression candidate too. But Toronto will be right at the top. Tampa Bay will probably be right there with them. And I think Florida will be in the mix enough to the point. I'm going to say beer.
Okay.
I don't think they definitively that there's a major shuffle. Like Montreal could finish right where they finished last year. Some think that they're due to be better just because they have that experience playing against Washington. I don't know if that's really the case. Like, yeah, those few games can help, but does that really make them a better team? Does Dobson, who they brought in to be a puck mover who has his own defensive deficiencies, does that really make them that much of a better team? You know, people say that their defense looks great on paper. Like, yeah, but aside from like Gooley, who's their like legitimate big time shutdown guy? Like they don't have
Good question.
They don't have any of those, and they need more than just one. They have a bunch of puck movers. They have Hudson. They have Dobson. They have Matheson, who's a good puck mover, who's put up some big point seasons. They had like a 60-point season. What was it, a couple of years ago or so? But Florida, like I said, they'll be there. Ottawa and Detroit are two wild cards because Ottawa could make the playoffs again, and I think that Stützle and Tkachuk are going to bounce back. I think Ullmark is one of the better goaltenders in that division.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that I really look out for, and honestly, I think their season depends on him, is Sanderson. Like Sanderson gave you almost 60 points last year, and I think there's room for him to grow. If he continues to develop the way that he's been developing, he could turn into like a 70-point two-way tour de force there. I think that he's going to be a real force in this league. I think he might even win a Norris one day. I just think he's that good. Like his skating is unbelievable. His gap control is incredible. Positionally, he's almost always in the right place. He one-on-one, he's incredibly tough to beat because of his skating, his reach, and his gap control. He's just really, really tough to play against. So for me, if he has a big year, Ottawa could even fight for that division because he logs like 25 minutes a game or so, and he's just incredible. He really is. And I do think that he'll take a step forward this year too. So I just wonder about some of the other guys. Like Batherson's 60, 65 points. You're getting that from Batherson. What's Dylan Cousins giving you? You traded Josh Norris for him, and Josh Norris gave you, a 36-goal year a few years back. What are you getting from Dylan Cousins? Because he has not looked the part after the trade. Like, I'm waiting for him to finally break out and get back to that 30-goal, 60-point, almost 70-point form from Buffalo a few years ago. 16 points in 21 games after the trade is decent, but give me more. I want to see more from that. So they're a wild card. Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have. The Atlantic has some teams that could really go up and down, but I still think the Pacific is really a team that or a division rather you'd have to watch out for because I do think that they could be all over the place.
I think every team in the Atlantic could be in a different spot. That's how much I think that could change. Like, I don't think Boston's going to be a last place team. They could be, don't get me wrong. But I mean, Boston could jump over Buffalo. Buffalo could jump over Detroit. Detroit could jump over Montreal. Montreal could slide back. I think Montreal's more of a candidate to slide back. There are people that already want to hand them the Stanley Cup, if not this year, then next year or 2 years from now. So just hold the brakes on that one for a minute because it's a Jeff Gorton built team. Jeff Gorton teams, I have trouble with his roster construction going back to the Rangers. And first things first, who's your goaltender? Because it's Sam Montembeault? Because Sam Montembeault earned the net. What if Montembeault falters? Does it go to Jacob Fowler? What about Jacob Dobish? I mean, that if you got 3, you don't have 1. So there's, as much as you want to say there's depth, there's also questions. Now, oddly enough, Phil, the one team I kind of don't question is Ottawa, because I like what some of their pieces are, but I'm just not sure on Travis Green. He had a good first season with Vancouver, or a couple good seasons with Vancouver, I should say. But then the wheels fell off the cart, and then Bruce Boudreau was the coach before you knew it in Vancouver. Let's see whether or not he learned from that stint that was over there. Phil, the Atlantic has got so many variables that I have to say I have to go round on this one very easily. And not that it's a layup, because you got teams like the Central that could do that. As Joe Graves is saying right here, the Rangers are already in New York Jets territory. Oh, boy. Yeah.
We're in the pods that are the only thing that keep me interested. Yeah, because I think us complaining about the team is probably more interesting than the team itself. I'm almost already looking forward to the draft. That's how bad this is.
Yeah, I got to say that too. And a matter of fact, it's one of those things of, I wanted to make a slogan for New York hockey this season saying the 25-26 season, let's get this over with, because not just for us, I mean, that the Islanders are in transition too. So that's something else that we're going to see about that. I don't expect the Islanders to make a huge jump, and I think they're going to be rebuilding, and you're going to see some pieces get sold off. It's just a smart thing to do. At least the Islanders look like they have a plan and a direction. The Rangers,
the Islanders look like they have. I mean, again, the direction and the general management there, and the management in general, have actually identified where they want to go, and that's the great thing about the Islanders right now, is that they have just an indication of, hey, this is what we're looking for. You know what? Maybe we have to be in the middle for a little bit, but you know what? We understand that our prospect cupboard needs depth.
yeah,
We understand that we have to build up our system and develop our players the right way. The Rangers, I don't think they'll ever understand that.
But going back to the Atlantic, the variables in there are left and right as well. You have Detroit got a goaltender, a full year of Todd McClellan. That could close that 5-point gap between them and Montreal very easily. Montreal's acting like Demidov is going to get them to 100 points. Let's hold on that one. You got Noah Dobson, but you're not using him really as his offensive aspects are. You want him to be more of a 5-on-5 guy, but he feasted on the power play when he was with the Islanders. That's when you got the good seasons out of him. Florida, yeah, they're injured, but Florida also has the know-how and the muscle memory. And they also got guys like Sam Miskevich who look like they're going to be major contributors. Tampa Bay is run by the best coach in the NHL. John Cooper is the best coach. I don't think anyone comes close. And then you got Toronto, who's trying to make their statement of going, yeah, we lost Marner, but we're a deeper team this year. And Craig Berube, I think he led them very well last year. Now, you look at the bottom part, Lindy Ruff has still got to do better than 79 points at Buffalo. And Marco Sturm, as a rookie head coach, I think it's going to be a lot harder for him to really get past that 76, especially with all the Bruins struggles. You look at them, that's why I almost say you could put them in a blender. You could almost put Boston goes ahead of somebody and then it all goes down. And yes, Sam Miskevich is a good one, state of survival. Let's go to the Central Division, guys, and let's talk about Logan Cooley. Reports have him turning down a potential 8-year deal at $77 million. That makes it a $9.625 million AAV. Logan Cooley turned it down, but is Logan Cooley worth $9.6 million right now?
Beer. I get why the contracts are so high. Like, look at what Frank Nazar got. Frank Nazar got that, and that really kind of set the market in motion. And this whole paying for potential and, buying out UFA year strategies, really kind of going crazy now with the cap going up. And listen, he's not worth that right now based on production. But out of all these guys that are coming out that are unproven, that oh, you're going to piss off a lot of people saying that, but you're absolutely right.
Oh, I didn't see what it said. What did it say? Oh, market reset with Igor.
Reset, baby. With Igor, yeah. So, I like that Logan Cooley, for his sake, is betting on himself here, because I think that he is very, very close to breaking out and having an absolute monster season. I'm very high on him. I thought he was one of the best players in that 2021 draft. I really do think that he's going to be like a 90-plus point center at some point. I think he's just that good. But no, he's not worth that right now. But the market has dictated it because Frank Nazar got, 7.1 million or whatever it was that he got, or 7.7 or something. It was something ridiculous. And he played only I don't think he's even played 100 games yet. So, yeah, he got 6.59. Sorry. I thought it was over 7 that he got. But he has played 57 total games, and he got about 6.6 million. So when that happens, that means that guys like that are going to get that money when the market actually resets.
Mm-hmm.
Notice how I'm throwing that in there. So now that the market is reset for forwards, because that's when that happens, usually with forwards and defensemen, not goaltenders. So you went and you basically screwed up the market. So now Logan Cooley is going to get – Logan Cooley's probably going to get like 10. I would imagine he'll get 10. But I think it's going to be like after this year, and he's going to command a ton of money after a huge, huge season. He's only 21. So he's 65 points in 75 games last year, 25 goals. I could see him scoring like 80 to 90 points like this year.
No, he's not worth 9.5 right now. Sorry. And I know that everybody wants to say the cap's going up, I keep saying this all the time. It doesn't mean you have to spend it all in one shot. Here are the following centers that are making $9.5 million now based on their career. Now I'm going to start with Braden Point, Sebastian Aho, then it's Tyler Seguin. Tyler Seguin's production has dropped greatly. Okay, let's admit that. But still, Tyler Seguin over his career has earned the $9.8 million AAV. Braden Point is far better than Logan Cooley right now. And Sebastian Aho, I've cooled a little bit on what I thought, but I still think very highly of Sebastian Aho. Now, you're telling me he deserves more than Dylan Larkin? He deserves more than Sidney Crosby? And yeah, I get this is part of the cap going up. Players know it. I don't think he gets what's the number that he needs to get to that is going to justify this contract in his own mind. Take it right now. Just take it. You're 21 years old. You'll be 29 when you get another contract. You might not end up getting it.
That's the thing. They're all signed in a different climate. And what they're doing is they're paying, like, you can't compare like the Aho contract. The Aho was years ago. Crosby has done 8.7 for his entire career after his ELC ended. So you can't really say Crosby because Crosby's also like Shohei Ohtani. He gets so much in endorsements that other players will never see. They will never see that type of money. So.
But again, I get that the climate is different. Everybody knows the cap is going up, but just because there's more money to spend doesn't mean you need to take it from the person that's spending. This is every metaphor I have, I don't want to say on the air about this, but it's the reason why now you got the purse doesn't mean everybody needs to spend every single dime that they got. Cooley takes, if let's say Cooley takes too much of a deal, too big of a deal, even with the cap going up, then it's gonna affect somebody down the line. Build a team, build a Stanley Cup winner, take how much more is he gonna get? Take $1 million less than that. He's not such a big name free agent that he needs to like shatter the glass ceiling or something. That was McDavid, and McDavid took less. That's what I would come back with him with. Just take a little bit less. We got you. We got you through. You're not even a point per game player yet.
I don't like even using that example because he clearly took less to try to keep a team together. So
yeah, but also that's kind of where we're going to get with Cooley, because Utah is putting together a good team, and they've been doing it for a while. They've been doing it since their days back in Arizona, but that now, oh, sorry, they were never in Arizona according to their history. What a stupid thing that is. But just how much? This is also where I'd end up looking at him and going, "All right, kid, what do you think you want?" Because if he counters with 10 million, he can go get traded to Siberia for all I care. But and I like
thank God you are not the general manager of that team.
Again, but you don't come back and say $10 million and then that's it. Don't get greedy. Now's not the time to get greedy.
If this kid records 80 to 90 points this year, he's going to absolutely be worth that.
Okay. Well, then go do it. I'll hand you the money. That's
what he's doing, though. He's betting on himself.
What happens if he doesn't?
Okay, then he doesn't get the money he's looking for.
Yeah. Well, does he take this contract?
Is that contract still going to be there? Back to it. Maybe that offer's not on the event. Let's just say he records another 60-point season. That offer may not even be on the table anymore after that, if he doesn't produce.
Well, we're going to be talking about some more contracts in our pickup segment, guys. And here we go.
I've got a gut feeling.
You want me to do two things?
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Now shoot!
And here we are, guys, with our Big Apple Hockey Pick'ems. We're taking just two choices, sometimes three, but we got two choices for you, and it's either or. There's no beer that's going to be involved in this one. But, Phil, let's start with this one. The better contract, Jackson Lacombe, who's 8 years at $72 million. That's a $9 million AAV, which I guess that kind of makes me say maybe they should just pay Logan Cooley that money anyway. Or Luke Hughes at 7 years at $63 million.
This is tough because we're talking about guys that are like relatively unproven. Both of them are relatively unproven. Luke Hughes is a little more proven than Lacombe, but I think the ceiling's higher on Lacombe. I don't like $9 million for him after one 40-point season. I think there's talent there. I think he's better defensively than Luke Hughes. But I just, I don't know. I just don't like that type of money after that few games. Like it just, I get, again, you're paying on potential. You're buying out UFA years. I get it. But why are we jumping to $9 million for a guy that has a career 60 points in a career 148 games? 17 points in 71 games last year, 2 points in the 2023, or 2 games in the 2023 season with no points. And then last year, 75 games, 14 goals, 43 points. And he was even in plus minus while playing 22 minutes a game. I get it. I'm going to say Lacombe based on this right now. That I think that he has the higher potential as a number one defenseman because I think he's better defensively. I don't think Quinn Hughes is a fit there. I've said this even with Jim Beeringer on that I don't think Quinn Hughes is a fit. I don't see how you go out and you give Luke Hughes $9 million, and then you go and bring in Quinn Hughes at $12 million to have Luke Hughes not be on power play 1. Like, what are you doing there? Because Quinn and Luke are both left-handed shots.
Mm-hmm.
They're both left-handed shots. Where is Luke going to play on power play 1 if Quinn's on there? So now you just signed a young defenseman to a $9 million a year deal that you're banking on potential, which is based almost entirely around point production because his defensive play is god-awful right now. So why are you doing that? I really don't think Quinn Hughes is a fit there. I don't. As much as I think they would like to have him and the brothers would like to play together, I don't think Quinn's a fit there. I don't. So I'm going to go with Lacombe based on I think that there's more room for growth with him. And I think that he's just better overall. I like that if you're going to give that number out right away, you gave him that extra year too.
Mm-hmm.
You're not coming back a year earlier. He's 24 right now. He'll be 25 in January. You have him for 8 years. After you have him for 8 years, and it's just, again, you don't want to be paying for someone that you don't think is going to eventually get there. But for the next 9 seasons, they have him under contract. So he's going to be there until he's 33, and you got him locked up long term. So if he wants to come back after that, it's not a crazy contract that you're going to have to give him.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with Lacombe as well. I think he's the better value, and I think that there's more of a ceiling for him. Look, Luke Hughes could be a great defenseman if they end up pairing him with his brothers, both of them. Then immediately Quinn's the better one on that two of them, and you're spending $21 million on 2 defensemen in a league that doesn't use 2 defensemen on the power play anymore, and then you're hoping that his even strength numbers are going to be good enough to move the needle. And then, I mean, never mind the fact that if Quinn came, what number is he wearing on the Devils? It's what does that really say with Luke Hughes then? Because then you got Luke Hughes has earned his ice time with the Devils, earned his position, earned his cred, if you will. But it's just I know what's going to be going on with Jackson Lacombe. I don't know what's going to be going on with Luke Hughes. And it's only because if they upgrade, if they end up moving Dougie Hamilton and getting somebody else to fill that spot, and Luke Hughes is given the keys to the franchise, that's what matters more. And that's where you could kind of see that Luke Hughes, you can see the potential, but he's not there yet. He's not a Jedi yet. All right. Filk, let's go to Mitch Marner, who is a notorious slow starter. I had his games played in the month of October. In the month of October, Mitch Marner, for his career, it's 86 games, 76 points. So in his first season with Vegas, over under a point per game.
I'm taking the over.
Mm.
I mean, this is a layup.
Yeah.
Over. I mean, he's going to be playing with Jack Eichel. Over. Easy.
Mm-hmm. So there's the layup button. And Phil, I'm going to say it's a layup too. I think Mitch Marner. Now, by the way, Mitch Marner also played with Austin Matthews, but he just starts out slow in these seasons. I can't explain it. And it was 15 goals and 61 assists over the course of his career, 86 games in October's. I think he's going to be energized. I think he's going to be totally just ready to go. He admitted today he's a little bit nervous to make his Vegas debut. I think if anything, Vegas is.
So
Yeah. I mean, what player is it? But on the other
He
hand,
played 10 years in Toronto. Of course he's going to be, you know.
which I love the Vegas going to games in Vegas, but as Maria would tell you, she looked at me and just kind of went, "Are they? Why do they always tell them when to clap? Because they're coaching people when to clap at Vegas games. So they're a new hockey audience. That's just what they do. It's not like Toronto. It's not like Toronto. The pressure's off of him. I think he's gonna blow up in the month of March specifically, as a month of October, month of March. Yeesh. All right, Bill. Speaking about guys that don't have the pressure of little things like mega buck contracts on their minds and their team's futures that are hitched to them, but who will have a more productive October, Connor McDavid or Kirill Kaprizov?
I know Connor McDavid. I get Kaprizov got his new deal. So did McDavid, but I just think that McDavid's also probably going to be playing a lot of time with Draisaitl because it looks like they're lining Draisaitl up on the left-hand side with him. So that's going to be a massive boost, especially if he's playing the majority of even strength minutes with them, then the power play minutes, which is huge because McDavid will probably have another like 130 to 150 point season with this being the case. And then Kaprizov, as great as he is, just doesn't have nearly the same talent around him in Minnesota. I am curious to see if Zeev Boyum could get on the power play one in Minnesota and really run that power play. Like, I know Faber's been decent on it, but I just think Boyum's just a tremendous young defenseman. I think there's the skating, the smarts, the ability to get pucks on net, the ability to walk the line. Like, he's just a perfect defenseman for today's game. So I would like to see him get involved and really establish himself as, like I said, like a dark horse for the Calder. Because I do think you're going to see that name in Calder discussions. I'm telling you, he's going to be near the top of the voting.
Yeah, because he's going to get every opportunity. You're not sure about that with other guys like, say, for instance, Zane Parekh in Calgary. Phil,
I could see him getting power play minutes, especially if Rasmus Anderson doesn't look to be the part early on.
Or Mackenzie Weegar.
Mackenzie Weegar's not really there. Not really.
Yeah, but he's been serving as that anyway right now. But he's got to jump over two guys. I think the path is clear for Bouillon.
Yeah.
Phil, there's one guy that's missing out of everything that you said, and you hit the nail on the head with line mates, because you mentioned that McDavid's going to be with Draisaitl, and Zach Hyman should be back soon. I don't think he's going to be back to start the season. However, a guy that is going to miss the start of the season is Matt Zuccarello. And him and Kaprizov have been making sweet music for a while. He's going to miss the start of the season. That might affect Kaprizov's production, at least for the month of October. But the fact that both these guys, they don't have to think about anything except for hockey right now, I think that's a relief on both of them. And Anthony had Kaprizov winning the Hart Trophy. You have McDavid winning the Hart Trophy. And my guy was McKinnon, who started out looking pretty good last night as Marty Necas had a pair of goals. And so I think we're all going to pat ourselves on the back. Ideally speaking, both teams would like to finish further than where they are right now. So let's also talk about two other teams that would like to finish further than where they were. Who will have the further playoff push? The Winnipeg Jets or the Toronto Maple Leafs?
This is a tough one. I don't trust Toronto come playoff time, but I'm unsure about Winnipeg's depth. Like, Ehlers is a loss for them, even though he doesn't really do much in the playoffs. Like, his playoff numbers are bad. another one that doesn't really attack the inside and the middle come playoff time, kind of like a Panarin. I would just say that I'd probably go Toronto just because I think Winnipeg's depth is still questionable. If they make a move at the deadline for somebody, then maybe they go ahead and they get a little further this year. But something about Toronto, it just doesn't feel right there either. But I really do have questions about Winnipeg. Like, their defense is Morrissey and then what? Neil Pionk, Dylan Sandberg. Like, Dylan DeMello is playing top 4 minutes for a team that's supposed to be a Stanley Cup contender. No, I don't see it. I'm sorry, but no. But I just wait. What is this? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh,
here.
no. I think you're saying that when he was excited that he got Ehlers, and you're saying that Ehlers isn't that great in the playoffs, but he's not.
No, he's just Ehlers is not a great playoff performer. Like, look at the numbers. I mean, he's a good pickup. He's a good regular season pickup. He'll give you like probably 60, 65 points. I wonder how he fits in Carolina's system.
That's a great question.
Play a lot of north to south, like high to low hockey in the zone and cycle and everything like that. Ehlers, to me, plays better off the rush than he does the cycle, even though he can play off the cycle. It's not like Rantanen, who just, for whatever reason, like, he just does not play off the cycle well. But, like, Ehlers in the playoffs has 21 points and 9 goals in 45 games. And the highest he's had in one postseason run was 7 assists in 15 games in 2018, which was his very first playoff run. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. He had 7 points in 8 games this year, too, with Winnipeg, 5 goals. That was his only good playoff run, was this past year. Otherwise, his playoff numbers are garbage. So he will be on the second line by midseason. I don't know.
He's making $8.9 million. He better be at least on the second line. And I mean,
I question the fit. I'm sorry. I question the fit. I
kind of have questions with that too. I mean, I don't like Carolina's center depth. I mean,
their center depth is still just awful. I don't understand how this team hasn't gotten that. You're not going to win with Jordan Stahl as your number 2 center.
No, and you can. How do I say it with? Well, whatever. He's so old you could hear his arteries hardened. It's just like, come on. He's not what he used to be. And let's stop pretending like Jordan Stahl is even he's not even as late.
Agreeing with you on what? I'm not even sure of what you're saying. Like, you're absolutely, you're
honestly, no, we love you, D. It's just we're trying to figure it all out.
Me. Like, I don't know what you're getting at. I don't know where you're going.
Yeah, just if you could clarify that for us. All right. So, but by default with Winnipeg, they're in murderer's row, and they're gonna have to face either Dallas or Colorado at least in order to make it further to where they're gonna go. Toronto, on the other hand, I think Toronto can outclass any team in the Atlantic except for the Florida Panthers. So if they can avoid the Florida Panthers, which is not an easy thing to do, maybe they can get a little bit further. But people forget with Toronto. Toronto had that series. They were up 2-0 in game 3. They coughed up the 2-0 lead. Marchand scores in overtime. And now that's all that she wrote. So moving on. Let's go with this one, because after all, let's talk about a different New York GM that frustrates a lot of people. Phil, who's more likely to have a job in 2027, Chris Drury or Brian Cashman?
Can I say wash?
No. Got to pick one.
I think these guys both might be fired. Actually, no. The jury's not getting fired. It's
Nor is Cashman.
I honestly, if they were to crash out and lose this series, if they would have gotten swept last night, I think they would have been closer to firing Brian Cashman. I honestly think that the only way I could see Chris Drury getting fired is if there's even more drama this year. The team just absolutely implodes. They're a draft lottery team again. There would have to be so much. There would have to be so much drama behind the scenes for Chris Drury to get fired. So I think it's Chris Drury, but I think I do think Brian Cashman. I see people saying that he's safe because they beat the Sox. I don't think that means anything. I really don't think that means a whole lot. I mean, if they lost to the Sox, would things have been a little more of a hot seat situation? Maybe. I don't think that really makes him safe. But I do think that if they were to lose this series and not even get to the ALCS after going to the World Series, ain't going to look good.
This is tough. This is really, really tough because I think Brian Cashman's got some great blackmail on Steinbrenner because George would have fired him at least 4 times by now since 2012. Hal is so indifferent. I don't know if that is ever going to matter. And you almost could say the same thing about Jim Dolan. Oh, we believe in Chris Drury. Okay. But Phil, how much more drama do you want for the New York Rangers last year? They were, urinating tree had the bit of them called, they're the soap opera called All My Rangers. And you could have also done As the Rangers Turn, but it's just, the Rangers had so much drama going on. They were trying to get the players were trying to get the GM fired by playing badly, which is not going to work. So you get the coach fired. That's a different story. But you also, if that's not enough drama, and also the headlines that came out at the end of last year, I don't know what else could. And furthermore, with the Yankees, they're far from the picture of excellence that they have been as a franchise over the last 100 years right now. Like, there's teams that are beating them now that shouldn't be beating them. It shouldn't have been that much of a hassle to beat the Red Sox. Sorry, guys. The Sox were not that good of a team. And Toronto is out slugging them. Thank God Aaron Judge had the home run last night. But I mean, this team needs a new, fresh pair of eyes. It's been 30 years. You can move on from Brian Cashman. After all, they moved on from Bob Watson pretty quickly. I think it took only 2 years after they won, or 3 years.
Yeah, it went Stick Michael from up until 95.
Okay.
And then Bob Watson was 96 and 97. And
he won the first Yankees World Series in 14 years at that point?
Yeah.
Like, it's incomprehensible that the Yankees are looking at them right now and going, oh, it's good enough. It's good enough to make the playoffs. It's not the Yankees' way. Buck Showalter had made the first wild card, got them to the playoffs for the first time. Again, I believe it was 13 years at that point. And then Don Mattingly finally has a home run in the playoffs. They had a 2-0 lead over Seattle, who was a budding great team. Seattle ends up coming back and winning that series. And then fired Buck Showalter. And then they put in Joe Torre, and he became one of the greatest managers in Yankee history after being called Clueless Joe. This is It doesn't make any sense. And same thing, sort of like how Chris Drury is still a New York Rangers GM. All right, guys, that's the end. Sorry, but Phil, last word.
No, I just have an update on something. So apparently, Elliot Friedman is saying that the salary cap, he's hearing the number is going to be $107 million next year. So we're going up from like 95 or so to 107 million, or it'll probably be about 107 million. So
No, okay. So in other words, they should have paid Igor $20 million. Again, just because I reiterate this, because you have more of a budget, doesn't mean you spend the budget. It's absolutely insanity. So again, guys like Logan Cooley, wouldn't that be better to have what's it better to have us pay you $9 million or $10 million, or you got guys? Maybe I could sprinkle that around for a couple other guys, and maybe you're playing with two $6 million teammates or guys that are actually worth that. I mean, they re-signed Paterka, so I'm going through all these in my head because there's a couple of the contracts that were coming up in a few years. Like take for instance, with Tom Fitzgerald, he wanted to make sure he wasn't going to have to negotiate the Luke Hughes contract and the Jack Hughes contract when they both came off the books. So that's where you have that's where you have some forward thinking on stuff like that. I'm so tired of hearing the cap is going up, spend more money. That's not the way to go. That's such insane spending, Phil, that governments would be like, I think that's a little bit crazy.
I also don't understand just spending on positions that aren't premium positions. Goaltending is not a premium position. You can't, and you have 15 years of Henrik Lundqvist history to show you. Actually, you got more like 20 just because you couldn't win that Stanley Cup. That shows you that you cannot win that way.
Yeah.
So why are you spending in a position that's not a premium position that you don't need to spend to the end of the world in order to win with? Like, I don't understand that.
It's not a good idea.
It never was. There are people that'll, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
And no, because look, you could spend the money, but it's not helpful to the franchise. It's the same thing of if let's say McDavid was the big, or never mind that. For years they kept on saying most teams can only send two players to the All-Star game, but Edmonton Oilers send their entire team, and it was a picture of McDavid and Draisaitl. I mean, you can't have that. You need a team. And if you lose one player right now because other guys are going, well, the cap's going up, let's raise all the salaries. It's not a sound idea. Now, again, let's just go over to, and we're going to go to Puck Doku in 1 second, guys. And we're sorry we're a little bit boring today. It's just, there's not much to talk about going into this. First up, by the way, I still can't believe that Arizona has 3 picks in the second round this year, and one of them is the Rangers' second round pick of what's his name, Patrick Nemeth. Still, but JJ Peterka is the highest paid guy in Utah right now. He's making $7 million. Their cap, they're only at $91 million. So the Logan Cooley money would be, if he did, let's say $10 million. That's another $9 million to scratch off of that. They only have $7 more million to play with. Then you still have to re-sign Nick Schmaltz, or he comes off at 5.85.
Alex Kerfoot comes off at 3.
Yeah. Barrett Hayden's looking for a new contract.
Cole at 2.8. Yusuf Alamaki at 2. They have space to work with. Vitek Vanacek at 1.5. I mean, he's replaceable. He is barely an NHL goaltender, Vitek Vanacek. For that time, for $1.5 million for that is just terrible. Kevin Rooney's got 7 point. Oh no! Oh, that's right. And then they have dead cap from Ekman Larson, which is $650K, and then Connor Ingram. That's $1.49 million that comes off the books after all. It goes from $1.449 million to $650K. So they'll have money to work with, especially if the cap's going up $12 million. I wonder if you bring back Schmaltz, or I mean, if Barrett Hayton has a big year this year, you can get rid of Schmaltz, and then you can allocate that money elsewhere. I would get rid of freaking Oli Mata. Oli Mata at $3.5 million is just not good.
I mean, but again, they're saving Ricardo Melka, and we know that they've been talking about Carter Hart. It's just, by the way, look at that draft board. Wow. They got multiple picks in the third round this year and next year, multiple fourth round picks, multiple fifth round picks, multiple for this year and next year. Next year, they got multiple fourth round picks. Like, they've got a lot of capital that they could use to move in and out players. Look, if you want to sign Logan Cooley for that money, go right ahead. But again, once that cap is gone, it's gone. You can't go, oh, I'm sorry. Well, you're not producing, so we're just gonna take that cap money back. By the way, guys, listen to D right here. Hit that like button once again. And again, we're not just always the Rangers Islanders. We cover all of the NHL. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. I'm gonna leave this up for a little bit, just to remind people to subscribe and also hit that like button. All right, we're doing a puck doku, guys, and here are the x-axis. You have the Canadians, the Canadians, Calgary Flames, Minnesota Wild. Your y-axis, Washington Capitals, St. Louis Blues, and a goalie that had 10 plus wins in their career. Phil, go right ahead.
So the 10 wins, does that have to be with that team? Or is it just a goalie that has 10 career wins that's played for that team?
It says career. So that's what I was doing.
Let me see what it says in the description.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that I'm like right on this before we can. Can you click on it?
Oh, I'm sorry. You were telling me to do that. I actually thought you could do that. Hold on. Player does not have to get all wins with team to count.
Okay. All right. So it's just a goalie that has played 10, had his 10 career games that has played for that team.
Like, for instance, for me, Eric Fischio is the one that comes to mind right there.
You could put Fischio there. That's fine.
Okay, so we'll do that.
Work.
I mean, too many people remember him. That's one problem I have, but he's 0.4. Calgary Flames.
Calgary.
Or if you want to select a different box, by the way. I'm sorry.
No. Let's see. Calgary Flames. I think Freddie Braithwaite would be too obvious.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, Trevor Kidd would be way too obvious too.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 wins is not a lot. I think Bob S has played at one point in there, but I don't think that's right.
Muir would be too obvious. No, Essenson never played in Calgary. He never played in Calgary.
Never played in Calgary.
Don
How about
Edwards? That would actually be I know him from Buffalo, Don Edwards, but
I was gonna say, what about Jack Reese, who was one of the backups in NHL '92?
You mean Jeff Reese?
Jeff Reese, sorry.
Yeah, Jeff Reese actually might be a good one. Yeah, Jeff Reese would be a good one. Yeah.
All right, Jeff Reese, here we go. 0.7. Minnesota Wild, or you want to choose another box?
Well, Manny Fernandez is too obvious. Jamie McLennan might be a little too obvious just because he is in media. Zach Beer could get 10 career wins? No, 9. Who could I think of? I mean, obviously Nicholas Backstrom and Josh Harding are too obvious. That's way too obvious. Rollerson is too obvious as well because he was their goalie for a while earlier on.
Oh, and I forgot to set the 5-minute timer. I started that right now.
That's all right.
Because I would like to, always keep those down a little bit. And I think I actually still have the like button. Make sure you guys are hitting that. And also, obviously, we like to talk some hockey. Make sure you guys are on this.
And they were kind of like, I remember for like a while through like the 2000s, it was like Rolston, Harding, and Fernandez were their depth chart in Minnesota. And then like Backstrom came in, and then in that week he was Rolston, Backstrom, and Fernandez for
Who was the goalie that had MS for them?
Josh Harding.
Josh Harding
actually had to retire midway through the 2013-14 season, and he was leading the goaltending Triple Crown in the middle of it, and then just had to like retire. Like it's such a sad story. Really is.
Wade Dublowitz. And by the way, Louis, we were mentioning that before. That was some BS last night. Or better yet, said
some. That's Wade Dublowitz. Yeah, go with the Dublowitz. Yeah,
Wade Dublowitz, you got it.
Yeah, I would go with him.
And of course, Wade Dublowitz, who had that stop as a 1%er. Boo!
That's bull.
All right, Filk. I got 5 names I want to throw out there for this one: Montreal and Washington.
Okay.
I got Jan Bullis, Richard Zednik,
former Capitals,
Dinas Zubris, and Trevor Linden and Carl Alsner. Now, I do think Trevor Linden might be a possibility here. Even though he's a big name, I don't think anybody remembers him playing for either one of these two teams. Maybe Montreal.
Yeah, I don't get who the hell's thinking of Dublowitz either. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Jan Bullis is probably the one that people forget the most. George McPhee never played for either. I think Mike McPhee played for Montreal, but I don't think he played for Washington. That's
no, Mike McPhee played for the North Stars and Dallas.
And Dallas. Yeah, okay, so he was only 2 teams. Let me just take a look. Oleg Petrov didn't play for Washington, right?
Yeah.
No, he didn't play for Washington.
Nope. Sorry, my
bad. He
bad.
was a Montreal guy. But,
there's another Washington guy I'm trying to think of that was a Montreal guy.
Brian Bellows might be a little too obvious. Did J.J. Daniel play for Washington? No, I don't think he did. No, that's one of the teams he didn't play for. Funny enough, I always think of like the 2 guys I always think of when they play for like every team are like Daniel and Mike Sillinger.
Yeah, actually, you know who else I always think about that? And let me see if he fits, and I think he will. Oh, he doesn't fit there. Michel Petit, I was thinking of. Michel Petit. But he did play in Calgary, which is going to be one of the teams we're going to have to use, but I don't think he played in either St. Louis or Washington. He's
Um,
not.
Jan Bulis might be the guy that people forget about the most. Donald Brashear actually fits both of these two as well.
Yeah, but I think Donald Brashear is too memorable.
Yeah, because he was Peter Popovich never played for the Capitals. I know he played for the Rangers for a little bit.
I'll turn off the timer because we're about to go a full 5 minutes on just the first three.
Brian Savage never played for. I'm just trying to think of like obscure Canadians that nobody would remember.
And now it's riveting as we're now silent on this.
Yeah. I have a feeling Jan Bulis is going to be like a 1 or 2. Wait, hold on. I know he played in Nashville after Montreal, but did he ever play in Washington? Sebastian Bordelot.
That's actually a good one.
No, he didn't. He has a son, Thomas, that's been around.
You know what? Actually, I do think Dinas Zubris would be a good fit right there.
I think too many people are going to know Zubris. I think Jan Bulis is probably a better fit. I'd go Jan Bulis.
Jan Bulis? Okay,
Yeah,
so we're going Jan Bulis. 1%.
I was right. 1%.
Yeah.
Ooh,
All right.
Did Peter Zezel play for Washington? He might have been on that 98 finals team, actually, Zezel. No, Zezel never played for Washington.
Yeah.
No, but that's
unfortunately,
oh,
too
no,
many
he
people.
did. Oh shit, he did in 1991. Zezel actually would have been a really good one. That's actually a good call, DP. Sorry.
All right. So, however, by the way, this guy right here, I got this one, Doug Wickenheiser. We talked about him a lot.
Okay.
1%? Really?
Yeah, dude. You got to remember, people remember him with Washington. I mean, with Montreal.
Yeah, but still, not St. Louis. Okay. It's ready to fire out on that one. All right. All right, Phil, pick one of the next ones.
Calgary and St. Louis. Yeah, but that's not an option, Dave. It's Montreal and Calgary is not an option. So, sorry. St. Louis and Minnesota, I got one. Scott Pellerin.
Scott Pellerin. 2%er.
What? Get the fuck out of here. Are you fucking kidding me right now? There is no way. There is no way. Get out of here with that.
Get the hell out.
Knows who Scott Pellerin is?
That's hard to believe, Phil. Hard to believe.
That's unbelievable. Unfriggin' believable.
Wow.
Wow.
For St. Louis and Calgary, how about Ville Nieminen?
I don't think Nieminen played in St. Louis. I know he was San Jose because the Rangers traded him to San Jose. Oh, did he play in St. Louis? Hold on. Wow, he did. San Jose traded him to St. Louis the next year?
Yeah, he was the very end of his career.
Wow, okay.
There you go. Ville Nieminen. 0.5 at least. All right, so we still have the Wild and the Capitals, and the Capitals in Calgary.
Corey Millen never played for Washington, I don't think. I know he played for Dallas, New Jersey, the Rangers, and Calgary. And the Devils.
Phil, I got a great name for you.
Oh.
Who did the Rangers trade for Alexei Kovalev to reacquire him?
Rico Fata?
Rico Fata.
Did he play in Washington?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Yeah, then that's a
0.9.
good pick then, yeah.
All right, now we just got the Washington and Minnesota.
Oh, man. This is going to be a tough one.
Obviously not Andrew Brunette.
Yeah, that's going to be a no-go.
What about Daniel Wittick? Did he play in both?
I remember him in Colorado. I don't remember him.
I think I remember
Yeah,
him.
you know what? Daniel Winnick actually might be a good one. Try it.
All right, Daniel Winnick. Here we go. I mean, I always remember his name because that was my grandmother's name.
And he was a 2%.
It was a 2%. All right, let's look at some of these stats on this. This one was a tough one today. All right, so Lars Eller was the number one answer between Washington and Montreal. However, some of your sub number 1%. Tomas Vokoun, Robert Lang, I can't believe at a 0.8, Phil.
Yeah, actually, you don't want to know why? Because people forget that he played in Montreal.
Glenn Metropolit.
Glenn Metropol is actually a good one.
Dinas Zubris, there he is.
Wow, I can't believe that he was less than Jan Bullis. That's fucking crazy.
And Mikhail Grabowski and Sergei Berezin.
I would figure that Dinas Zubris would be less or would be more because of the fact that he played in Montreal for a while, and then he was with Washington during Ovechkin's rookie year. He was actually the second leading scorer on the 06 Capitals with 50. Ovechkin had 49 more points than him. So Ovechkin had 106 points. Zubris had, I think, 57. So,
yeah. So we still have some other ones that are right here. Let's look at some of the other. Where do we have we had a 2%, we had
Scott Pellerin was 2% in St. Louis and Minnesota. I wonder who the hell was below him. I can't believe who the fuck remembers Scott Pellerin.
Scott Pellerin at 2%. Marty Hadlett, who is another guy that I usually have a go-to with that
2%.
But let's keep going. Our under 1%ers. Sabenik Mikhailuk.
Okay.
Sean Hill would have been a good one. We could have used that one because he's another guy that played everywhere. Jason Marshall and Chris Porter would have been also in there.
Chris Porter, wow. Michigan alum, Chris Porter.
And this is where I used Wickenheiser, and I shouldn't have, because Wickenheiser would have been better on the top one. But you still had Max LaPierre, Marty Ruchinsky.
Marty Ruchinsky was somebody we both should have gotten because he was a Ranger.
Two-time Ranger.
Yeah.
Dickie Moore. Again, Glenn Metropollet. So, they're everywhere.
Moore I could see because nobody remembers Dickie Moore as a Blue. He's a Hall of Fame Montreal Canadian.
Yeah.
Like one of the earliest Montreal superstars.
All right. So we're gonna move on to the pyramid.
Here we go.
All right. So here we go. We got a guy who played for he's 80 playoff games in their career, 10 goal season with any team, 50 assists, any team, a defenseman. They had to play for the Vancouver Canucks, and they also had to play for the New York Rangers. So, and I usually they point to exactly who I think this is. I'm a little bit in the dark on this one. Is this
Brian McCabe?
Yeah, I guess it's Brian McCabe is who they're trying to get to at the end.
Brian McCabe fits everything
he does.
Think of in these. Like it's, I would imagine it's McCabe that they're pointing to.
Hey, Phil, you know who else fits in there? And we could use him at the end.
Doug Lidster.
Doug Lidster.
Yeah.
All right, so a guy that played 80 playoff games in his career. Go.
See, I don't know.
Chris Draper. I need it for
Brian
the
Skrudland. I don't know.
Let's go Brian Skrudland.
Okay.
I think that's a good one. Brian Skrudland is in. 10 goals, 80 playoff games, 10 goal season with any team.
John Druce, I think, maybe. I want to see if he fucking played 80 playoff games, right?
Yeah.
No, John Drews did not play 80 playoff games.
How about the guy he played on the line with, Joel Otto?
I was about to say Joel Otto. Yeah, that's a good one.
Joel Otto was in 50 assist season, 10 goal season. So he's got to get a 50 assist season at any point. How about just throw Sako Koivu's name out there? What do you think?
That might be a little too. Yeah.
Nelson Emerson, Craig Gianni.
Did he have a 50 assist season, Emerson? Because Emerson would be a real good one if he had a 50 assist season.
I will check.
Yeah, he did. He did 93 with St. Louis. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a 10 goal season too, right?
But hold on. Did he play 80? No, he didn't make the playoff requirement.
Okay. What about Craig Gianni? Did he play enough playoff games?
How about Russ? Or actually, is Vancouver Canucks next, or is defenseman next?
That's the second to last one. Defenseman's next.
Okay, go.
Going Russ Courtnall?
Go Cliff Ronning.
Okay,
right
so
now.
Cliff Ronning.
Yeah, Cliff Ronning right now. I hold on. Did he make 80 playoff games? You know what? I'm wondering about that actually because
okay, I didn't hit enter yet, so we're good.
1,000, yeah, a lot of career games. But
he has 126
playoff
games.
Cliff Ronning.
Okay, so Cliff Ronning right there.
Go Russ Courtnall, I think for
this is defenseman.
Oh, it's defenseman right now?
Defenseman.
Fuck, that changes things up. So it's a defenseman that has a 10-goal, 50 assist season. I think Constant Crossman actually might fit this, actually. Hold on.
Constant Crossman.
What the hell is that, Mark? Yes, Constant Crossman actually fits this.
Constant Crossman fits there. Yeah. Oh, it says he doesn't.
What? No.
Was there not a 50 assist season? Is that what it was?
I'm guessing there wasn't a 50 assist season. No, it's the 50 assist season. Crossman had a 59-point season. That was as high it wasn't to.
Okay. 50 assist season. That was Ronning. Okay, so we're back to where we were. So it's a defenseman. It's not going to be like Jay Bouwmeester, right? Because I don't think he ever had 50 in a season.
No, his career high was like 40.
Joe Cirella ever clear 50 in a season?
No. Dave Babbage.
Dave Babbage cleared 50.
And Dave Babbage definitely hits the playoffs requirements on this one because he's had Dave Babbage, yeah.
Okay, but here's a question. So if we went McCabe next, do you think it would be better to use McCabe now, Babbage next, and then Lidster to finish?
I don't think Lidster ever hit 50 assists.
All right, that's a good point.
I don't think he ever hit 50 assists. I don't think he was never that.
He had some productive seasons early on. 51 12.
Oh, no, he did. Ooh,
and he played 80 playoff games on the nose.
Oh, all right. So keep Lidster for last.
But that's why I also say this is where strategy comes in. Because if you could use McCabe now, where somebody's not going to use him, because they're going to save him for the Vancouver one.
For defensemen,
yeah, because Babbage we know played for the Vancouver Canucks,
but so did Jeff Brown. As Todd Peterson's saying, that's actually a good one because Jeff Brown had some big seasons in St. Louis.
All right, so do you think Jeff Brown fits the requirements right now? Then,
yes.
Okay, so you want to use which one do you want to use where?
I think Jeff Brown fits it. I would confirm, but yeah, I think Jeff Brown absolutely fits this.
No, he had a bomb.
I know that he had like a 70-point season in '93 with St. Louis.
Okay, so you think Jeff Brown for this one and then Babbage for the next?
Yeah, Jeff Brown. Go Jeff Brown, then Babbage.
Jeff Brown. Dave Babbage. Unique, it just jumped up the unique to 86.
Shit.
And then
Lidster.
Lidster. So we were at 86. Okay, here we go. Doug Lidster at number 1. Doug Lidster is the only one actually that fit. How is that possible?
Yeah, well, they must have had a thing for Doug Lidster then.
Did Brian McCabe not fit this? Brian McCabe didn't fit the end.
Nope.
Yeah,
Wow.
Paul Reinhardt, Doug Lidster. So they wanted you to go.
McCabe must have not gotten the playoff games because he was with Toronto for a while.
Maybe he didn't have the 50 assist season.
Ooh, did he not? No, he didn't. 49 and then 42.
49 assists. Oh my goodness.
He missed 9 games that year in 06. He probably would have hit it had he.
I mean, some of these you could have gone with the defenseman that had those. Phil Housley somehow under 1%. Roman Yossi, Andrei Markov, Brad Park, Sergei Gonchar, Borja Salming. I mean, it's a lot of good names that are out there. So it's amazing how Filk we were wrong and yet still right for a lot of these. So let's bring us back in there.
I know you got to get going though, right?
Yeah, I got to get going soon enough because I got a function tonight. It's gonna be a good time. Can't wait for it. But there's like just looking at some of these. See if do you guys have any questions? We'll take some questions before we get going. Didn't have any blind rankings today.
Yeah, I didn't have time.
Oh, I didn't have any either. So, let's see. Turned out a bird to Cleveland. I don't know where you're going out with that one, but yeah. I can't believe McCabe didn't fit those requirements and we missed by 1 assist.
That's crazy.
That is a little bit too nutty on everything. Ugh. Turn on the NHL Network and immediately see the Rangers losing last night.
Awesome. Gotta love it.
Pretty badly.
Gotta love it. What team shows up tomorrow? I think the same team from last night, to tell you the truth. I don't think that this is a good team. I don't. There's a reason why I've had very little. I haven't been jacked up about hockey this year because it's just. I don't think this is a good team. I don't.
Well, again, I reiterate, it's almost as much fun, if not better. No offense to anybody. I don't know if it offends anybody, but to watch a team that's bad, and especially when they have headlines, and there's going to be plenty of headlines. Oh yeah, all right. Well, there you go. Hey, Normie. You know, by the way, John Ratzenberger came up with the character Cliff during the audition. He was auditioning for Norm.
Yeah, I think Othman's value's been tanked. I don't think you get much for him. I think he gets even less than Capo Kakko because at least Kakko is an established NHL player. I don't know if you can get anything more than like a 4th rounder for Othman at this point. They had a chance to trade him for Gensel, and they didn't want to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, the way this team treats their young players, why would they even bother doing that to begin with? I mean, why would they even hold on to them? They treat their young players like they're inconveniences.
I get not wanting to give up on a player that early because that was 2 years ago now, and he was only 20, I think, at that point. I mean, it's just my issue with it is that if you weren't going to give him a chance, then you should have dealt him. You didn't give him really a chance. The other problem is that they, again, drafted a player with skating issues. And they, for whatever reason, they seem to continue to do this, and it comes back to bite them every time. Yeah, we can definitely become sellers trade deadline time. I fully anticipate that.
Let me go a little bit further with that, Phil. What do you mean become? They were last year. It's no. It's that simple. They're already trade dead. They're already sellers. If you mean to tell me this team would be buyers, that would be something that I'd be like, still don't see that one. But and Dave, I've said this numerous times. They would get McKenna and throw him on the fifth line. They would make a fifth line for him. Oh, he's that rotating guy that goes through lines in a men's league game.
So stupid. It's just so dumb on so many different levels.
Whereas the Penguins played 2 teenagers today.
Ben, I was totally shocked that Ben Kindle was on their opening night roster. I'm guessing they're giving him the 8 games to see what he has.
Yeah,
I like that pick a lot. I think that he's going to be a better player at this level than a lot of people think.
Like I'm watching the NHL channel with some of the highlights, and they went through that first power play, and their first real moment on the power play was a partial screen that Sheeloz was able to block her off from Lafreniere. It took them 1 minute and 30 in order to get a shot on net. So this again, it's players that think they're already destined for something. And
I'll give you an answer, Lonnie. Not a veteran.
Yeah. It's going to be Noah Lobberg that gets benched first. But you're not even seeing the play in them right now. And here was an odd man rush that led to a save right there. I mean, it's just where, look, we're not trying to have this be a bitch session about the Rangers, but the fact is they're just, it's not a team that you're really looking at and going and can predict a lot of success. And yeah, JT was a deer in headlights in that.
He shouldn't have been playing. If that's the way that he felt, he knew the legs were going to be bad and he wasn't up to shape. Shouldn't have been playing. Like, I don't understand what this team's obsession with having players that are not ready to be in a lineup.
By the way, there was a joke last night for anybody that watches Only Murders in the Building that me and my wife looked at each other and just said, Brazo scored. So this takes the game in a whole new direction. Because that's Steve Martin's catchphrase as his character from Only Murders in the Building. So
yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty delightful show. Still, like, I mean, I don't fault Igor on that goal either. You left all alone. You have to try to clamp
Igor
up.
Wasn't the problem last night. He let up that one goal. That was it. He played pretty good otherwise. I mean, the goal's really not even his fault. He was left wide open. And
yeah,
they didn't attack the middle of the ice at all against a team that's weak defensively, that really just, I don't even understand how they couldn't get chances. Like, you did nothing to press the issue with this team.
And this is a Pittsburgh Penguins team that finished second to last in the division.
Like, how are they just that bad enough to not be able to gain chances on Pittsburgh? And they barely tested Sheelovs all night. There were like 3 chances in total that you really were like, okay, that's a Benajad break-in off that turnover where he just didn't score. They had a chance at an open net that they missed.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another chance on a power play where I thought that they could have scored, where there was a scramble in front. That was really it. That was it.
I just saw the play where the Penguins hit the goalpost. It was the one was that Kindle that had that? Yeah, I think it was Ben Kindle that had that one that went off the goalpost. There's Banajad takeaway. All right. Nice play right there. It's just like there's not much to be enthused about if you're a Ranger fan. If you are, then you're lying to yourself. And
Yeah.
there's too much perimeter play that comes from Lafreniere. This is the same guy that attacked the middle, dangled through his legs in Game 3 versus the Panthers, and he's got these bad habits that are now they're totally there. If he scores 60 points in his career in a season, I'll be shocked. I'm not going to start defending him anymore.
Well,
the coaches don't want to use him, and he's clearly checked out.
He got that contract and that's it. Like, I just don't see. I expected him to come out like a bat out of hell this year and really look like he cared, and he just doesn't friggin' care. Doesn't care. It's the same nonsense BS efforts that he needs to be away from Panarin. He needs to be on a line with Miller and Zibanejad, and Will Cooley needs to be on that line with Trocheck and Panarin, because Panarin plays on a circular hockey rink. There are no corners that he will go into.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the cycle. And yeah, Lonnie's right. Like, Valaket points it out, and they do nothing to listen to what Valaket tells them, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to be a consultant within that organization, because I don't think they do anything to listen to what he says in the post games. Like,
I would actually, and by the way, I'm waiting for Dan Muse to get back to Precious. He would be more valuable if he did that, and if he went and did a the analytics review for the team, because some people we find it interesting on the MSG broadcast. So average viewers might find that a little bit boring. But again, there's people that want, and I can't even compare this team to 13-14 Filk, which had the most abysmal adjustments to a brand new head coach. And yet I'm not seeing it with this. I'm not. Oh, I'm sorry. It took a minute and 45 seconds for Lafreniere to get that first shot on net on the power play.
pathetic.
Yeah.
Just pathetic.
And again, you were shut down by Parker Wotherspoon and the rotting carcass of Erik Karlsson last night. That's what shut them down.
Karlsson, who is atrocious in his own zone.
Yeah, and now add age and
watch the Penguins go get routed by another team.
Yeah, but even at that,
go get routed by another team.
Even at that, it's not. It's this is your own building. You couldn't generate any excitement.
It'll happen. Trust me, it'll happen. They'll get routed by another team.
This is reminiscent of Michael Brodeur's shutout. That's how long ago that I'm going to go back on that one.
God. Ugh.
Where you're like, oh, the Rangers are down 1-0. Well, they're done. I'm trying to remember what year that was. That was 2012?
Michael Brodeur, probably.
Yeah.
And no, it might have maybe 2013, because I think they drafted him. Oh no, 2011 was it?
I guess could have been 2010, maybe. I don't know. Maybe 2010. Yeah, and Matt's saying it right here. It's going to be a long year. But again, if it's the year that a lot of Ranger fans are predicting it's going to be, it's going to be a long year, but it's a necessary year. Where you realize maybe they need to do the purge.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
This is again, but that's why everybody should be more stoked
Yeah, it
if
was
you're an Islanders fan.
2010 was Mike Brodeur. January of 2010, they got shut out by him.
Yeah, okay.
His only career shutout was Ottawa versus the Rangers.
That was
That's
before
Dan
him.
Blackburn you're thinking of, Todd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but which I wondered how that was supposed to work for Dan Blackburn. He had 2 blockers, but he couldn't raise his arm up over here from the accident.
Yeah.
So even doing this was not good. Like, I don't get it. But I mean, every NHL team would have looked at it and went, okay, pick the glove. So
Yeah. I have no idea. I have no idea anymore. Like it just. I thought that was just crazy how they tried that, and I felt so bad for him because I remember when they drafted him, he was like one of the best goalies in juniors.
Yeah.
For like a 2-year span, and then they drafted him, and then they came up in the 01-02 season as a rookie, as a backup. And I'll never forget the Young Stars game. Ilya Kovalchuk torched him. He fucking torched him. Ilya Kovalchuk looked like a man amongst kids in that Young Stars game, and I think won MVP. I think he had 4 goals in that game at the All-Star weekend. And he fucking just, wow. Why don't
wrong because we're not.
That's a smart thing to tell people, dude.
No, it's I understand what you mean. Don't go root for another team, but also for 2 reasons. One, we were fans of that team, and now we started to be analysts. And when you switch to being analysts, yeah, you can have your fandom, but you also have to analyze. And even when the Rangers were leading in the conference finals, Filk still had his analysis hat on, going, "This is not sustainable. They're going to end up losing the Panthers." Panthers made a couple small adjustments, and that's what happens. Look, it's not a matter of rooting, because after all, I'm a Mets fan. I'm going to root for them forever. And I mean, the only time you really stop rooting for a team is when you have complete and total apathy for them, which is the way I feel when it comes to.
I think the only time you really stop rooting for a team is when they do something to kind of like either price you out or completely betray you. Like, like WWE is a product that I grew up watching. I can't watch WWE anymore. The product isn't good, and now they're pricing fans out. Like, there are alternatives, and I wish that WWE would turn things around and they would book storylines better. And but the product sucks. It's so sloppy and slow, and it's unbelievable. And it just, when I watch people going off the ropes, I'm like, this is the slowest shit I've ever seen. And I watch New Japan, or I watch AEW, or I'll watch, somewhere else on the indies. And it's a hell of a lot better. And they're not pricing me out of watching. I'm probably not going to go to any games this year, because I'm not going to pay for a terrible product on the ice. But when you hear me on here, I'm saying these things from an analyst. Like, as a fan, I mean, I hope they tank. I hope they tank and they get McKenna, and they actually let McKenna just do his thing. But I know people who paid $200 for tickets for last night's game.
Yeah, we had guys saying they pay $250 or $300.
I would not pay that type of money for this product. And that's the thing. The Rangers the prices are still going up, and the product is going down. And I remember, like, in the dark ages, how cheap it was to go watch them, because they weren't good. And you know what? Honestly, I went to a lot of games back then because it was affordable. And there were some games that were fun to watch. At least with those teams, I knew what was going on, I knew, like, and it was just fun to watch the guys that they brought in. Like, I loved watching Pablo Burr. I loved watching Eric Lindros, especially in that first year. Eric Lindros was great. And then it's, outside of like the fly line and the checkmates line and stuff like that. Yeah. No, they went in a rebuilding type direction at the 04 deadline when they sold people off. They did it again in 2018. But no, the rebuilds were never really done.
Well, Ryan, also tanking is going to be impossible for this team because they got too much money committed to Igor and JT Miller, who are going to try to make it their mission to try to get back to the playoffs.
I don't even know if this team is good enough for them to have them avoided.
Yeah.
Look at, you have 4 guys that are either number 6 defensemen or lower.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 top pairing guys. So the top pairing guys can only play anywhere from 22 to 25 minutes a game, let's just say. And then you have the other 4 defensemen that just aren't good enough. And then you have your forwards, you have those top 2 lines, and then your bottom 2 lines are just not good enough.
But again, you look at what the Rangers are going to be going through for the next first week of the season. I forgot to actually download the schedule, I think. What does that say? Are we blaming Drury or?
I think it was probably a combination of both. I think Drury, for whatever reason, probably thought that, get Shesterkin, don't let him hit the market. And I think he wanted to latch on to that also, maybe possibly to save his job.
I mean, you look at the first 7 games for this team. They already lost to Pittsburgh. If they lose to the next 2 games, which is Pittsburgh and Buffalo, well, and again, they didn't even look competitive against Pittsburgh. This is why I kind of say it like that. Again, this is where the hard part comes in. You then get the Capitals, who are coming off winning the division. The Edmonton Oilers, who are coming off a Western Conference championship again, and that's back-to-back Campbell Conference trophies. You have the Maple Leafs, who are looking to prove themselves. And Jeff Gorton would love it if the Canadiens would embarrass the Rangers on Hockey Night in Canada, and that's the 18th. So then it leaves them with the rest of the month. You have the Minnesota Wild and the San Jose Sharks at home before going out to the West Coast, and they got Calgary, Vancouver, and Edmonton. Those are not, and maybe the easiest game in the month is San Jose and Edmonton and Vancouver. Maybe I can't look at this team and think. If you're thinking prosperity on this team, we're gonna find it out sooner or later. They get embarrassed by Buffalo, all bets are off on the season.
Yeah, if Buffalo comes out and does what they did right after the 4 Nations break then last year, which is entirely possible at this point, because I just don't see the difference in this team. I think this is actually a worse team than on, especially on paper. It's a worse team than what they came with last year. You gotta remember, you removed anywhere from 25 to 35 goals from Chris Kreider. So, and then your power play is going to suffer because you don't have one of the best power play guys. So,
which again, you look at, and that's the other thing too. Their power play masked a lot of problems. They're not a good 5-on-5 team. Sullivan's right. They have ways to go if they're going to be the team that they want to be. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. They have to learn to play 5-on-5. You have guys that thrive on the power play. No. We should have a call-in show. I'd prefer to get the people that at least have the to have the comments, because we've had.
I don't like the idea of call-ins.
I'm not particularly great on call-ins.
I'm not a big fan of that. I think of it this way. You have, again, you lost 25 to 35 goals from Chris Kreider. That affects your power play as well, because he's one of the best power play guys and one of the best net front guys in the league, even though last year was probably an aberration. He needed to go. We understood this. Things had to change here. Okay. So now your power play is drastically different. your penalty kill also suffers because Chris Kreider since 2020 is the league leader in shorthanded goals. So now your top penalty killing unit is now Will Cooley and Mika Zibanejad. I like Will Cooley, but Will Cooley is not the shorthanded threat that Chris Kreider is.
No.
I'll tell you that right now. And unless you're grooming Will Cooley to be a net front guy, which I think they should if they're smart, they should start having him work on a lot of that stuff. I mean, yeah. So Keaton Verhoff would be a major addition to the Rangers defense. The Rangers defensive depth in the system looks abysmal right now. EJ Emery did not have a good year in North Dakota. And I think he'll rebound, but he did not have a good year in North Dakota.
And Phil, this is one reason why I appreciate what Chris Drury is trying to do. It's another reason why he's got to go. He's got blinders on. Everybody's got to be from Boston or the U.S. development program. Not that the U.S. development program doesn't churn out great players, but it just seems like they don't look anywhere besides American players.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I get it. You know, we have to stop the xenophobia stuff and start drafting guys that are, European. I mean, if Ivar Stenberg was available and the Rangers picked, like, let's just say the Rangers are 3, and Verhoff and McKenna are taken 2 and 1, obviously. If Ivar Stenberg is available at 3 and the Rangers didn't take Ivar Stenberg, I might actually put my head through a wall because that's how good Stenberg is. Stenberg is probably going to be the next superstar Swedish center. Like, there are some very good players at the top of this draft class. So if there's any year for the wheels to just completely fall off, this is the year for the Rangers. Tell you that right now.
Well, again, it's like one of those things. And now, by the way, looking over at the Islanders, how do you think they're going to open up against Pittsburgh? Because that's another thing.
I think they'll beat Pittsburgh.
Watch the Islanders dismantle Pittsburgh.
I think the Islanders will beat them. I think the Islanders will take a look at what the Rangers did. They'll definitely watch the tape, and they'll make the adjustments that the Rangers couldn't. I mean, their guys like Lee and Palmieri and Holmstrom, they'll all go and they'll make life hard on that Pittsburgh Penguins team. Like the Islanders, they show up to play. They may not be good, but they play the right way. And Sorokin, it depends on his health and his back. We all know that. But they'll go out and they'll play the right way. The only problem with the Islanders is what are you getting on that power play? Because their leaders had 5 power play goals last year. That was terrible.
That's not good.
That's not good. And their penalty kill, they haven't figured it out for ages. Like, that penalty kill has been bad for years now since Trotz left. So,
well, it was still somewhat good with Lambert the first year, if I recall correctly, but then the wheels fell off that second year.
Last, like, few years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. They had a mutiny because of the Goodrow thing, which they admitted to, that they had an off-season meeting at Panarin's house for. Pizza party at Panarin's, yay!
Yeah.
And then the Trouba thing was terrible. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry, that you should have never came back. You should have accepted the trade. And then the memo was just, okay, we're giving up because the general manager is calling us out for poor play and treating us like boo-hoo, boo-hoo. You know, if that's the case, you don't want to be here. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Exactly. That's what it comes down to. Just don't be here.
Go.
Or have the team rally around trying to tell the coach or the GM to go stick it. Instead, they quiet quitted. That's stupid saying. Quiet quitting. It's
Andy is asking if you're working tonight, which I don't think you are, right?
Andy, I am not working tonight, no. But go on down. It's wing night. Enjoy. Always love talking hockey with you guys.
Yeah, it's really, and this is where it all started. It started with this, and that's really like if they were that upset about 3 p.m. is when it ends.
No, when it starts.
No, he
Oh, when
asked
does it
when
end?
it ends.
Oh, sorry. Well, all night. It goes all night to 2:30.
Yeah, 3 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. Okay, that's pretty cool actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just okay. VC is dramatic as hell, and I'm sorry he wasn't that good. Like you were not the player you were in 2016 when you first came up. Don't want to hear it. Don't care.
The players that are saying it right there, VC and Dahan were bit players. When Kako said it, that was more alarming.
You know, they hated Keenan. You're right, and they rallied around it. But Messier was the leader, and he rallied them against that. There's nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, we're gonna end it here today. Because I gotta go get ready for this event tonight. Great talking with you guys, and hopefully there'll be another stream really soon. If not, make sure you watch us every Wednesday. Next week there'll be a lot more positive things to say around the NHL as everybody will be playing games. I don't think there's going to be a lot of positive things about the New York Rangers. So yes, thank you. But there's at least going to be with some more news. End of the month will be our trick or treats. Evan's saying right here, Rangers fans gassing up VZ's comments of the world shows how pathetic the team is at drafting and truly finding and developing players. Yeah. And that's been a problem for a long time. And I think somebody did ask, what's the Dallas Stars doing that the Rangers aren't? The Dallas Stars have a plan. They stick to it. The Rangers had a plan. And Jim Dolan's like, all right, we can start to go for this now, right? No.
Yeah, I'm with Lonnie. I think the first 5 minutes of tomorrow night's game will really tell you a lot about how that night's probably going to go. Because I would say maybe the first 10, because maybe they come out with a little bit of a stronger effort. But if they can't put one in, and they get stifled a bit, that could really tell you what's going to happen the rest of the night there after those first 10, I would say. I like five. Yeah, I understand why you'd say 5, but I think 10 would probably be, yeah.
And again, as Firestorm's kind of saying right here, if Kako's a dud, and Lafreniere ends up being a disappointment as damning the organization, yeah, because that's huge. Because then your organization did nothing with the first and second overall pick. They were consensus first and second overall picks. You did not develop them.
No, you're not wrong here, State of Survival. It wasn't really a true rebuild because they went ahead and they went and they signed Panarin and they traded for Trouba. They did all this stuff to try to just not build around young guys. They could have given these guys a chance to actually develop, and yet they were obsessed because the owner doesn't like to go through rebuilding stages, and that's the issue. When James Dolan is dead and gone and away from this team, the same way CM Punk said that when Vince McMahon was away from WWE to be a better place, that's when we're going to be in a better place. It's when James Dolan is no longer involved with the Rangers because he has no idea of how rebuilds work and how beneficial they can be to a team when they're done correctly.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to just end it up today, guys. Yeah, because we've spit out a lot of stuff, so it's It's just frustrating. It's frustrating because we've been calling it all summer. And I tried to see the positives. I tried to be like, maybe this team could. I like I said the other day, I could sell the case that the Rangers could be a division winner. I could also tell you that they're going to be second to last.
I never saw them as a division winner. I'm sorry.
I figured maybe a bump that it could work.
As a division winner.
Everything would have to break right. I said I could sell you on it. I didn't say it was exactly the most likely. All right, guys, everybody, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you next Wednesday. And yeah. And David Quinn, you could say all you want about him, but he's the assistant coach now. He's not the problem.
No, but he's working the defense, and the defense is not good. And he's handling the power play too, and the power play isn't good. So
yeah,
they should have never brought him back. He's not an NHL hockey mind. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, who wins the next game, the Rangers or the Yankees? So
I'd have to say the Yankees will have a better chance of winning their next game than the Rangers do. So
all right, everybody, take it easy. We will see you next week.